still hard to cry? After what Klal Yisrael is going through, especially this year, how many people died, young people, Fishoff people dying. And if you open your eyes and you see the amount of children in pain and in crisis, how many parents, bury their children from overdoses and suicides, how many parents are so angry at their kids that they throw them out of the house and they're so frustrated, how many souls there are that are so hungry and thirsty. Le'rav la'lechem le'tzama la'mayim. Ki'im, what do they want? Somebody should accept me. Somebody should want me. My father told me, get out of here. My mother can't look at me. I'm worthless. Nobody thought in America we would have a problem. These kids going off the derech, it's not a ruchniistic problem at all. All the kids that are from now showed us they didn't have a ruchniistic problem. They have emotional problems, psychological problems, they feel rejection, they feel pain, and then the response very often is more pain and rejection, the opposite of the Baal Shem Tov, the opposite of the Chazon Ish, the opposite of all the Gedolim, right? And then we have homeless kids, and kids feel like homeless, and we still can't sit down and cry. Oy meh hoyelanu. How many thousands of kids that are cutting themselves, eating disorders, depression, anxiety. Eis tzari hi liYaakov. I said that when COVID happened and we were stuck at home and people saw what it's like to feel so isolated and so lonely, not sharing, not going out with friends, not going to shuls, not having oy chavrusa oy misusa, feeling depressed and down and different and off. That's the way these kids feel for years. We're a little bit feeling their pain, a little bit understanding the pain of Klal Yisrael's children, of so many of them, thousands of them, that we know of, and tens of thousands that we don't know of, because they're still in the system, but they're in pain and they don't feel happy. They don't feel happy. We have an emotional holocaust happening, where such a large percentage of Klal Yisrael is not zufrieden, is not happy. We thought 50 years ago in America that all of our kids are going to be happy. After all, they have everything. We thought maybe they're not going to be so frum because they're going to have so much, And that's not even the problem. The problem is they're not happy. They're empty, emptiness. People walk around like empty shells. If you have eyes, you can see people. You see emptiness and pain. You see people who are hurt, who feel like nothing. So many kids they feel like nothing. And then they cover it up with all kinds of craziness and all kinds of taiva and all kinds of drugs, numbing their pain and then we think that we have a drug problem, and then we think that we have a taiva problem, and it's not true. The shayrish is they feel empty, they feel broken, they feel down, they feel depressed. We're going through an emotional holocaust. And it's up to you to fix the problem. Just listen to the Zayir HaKadosh that we learned today. You have a chiyuv to run after those who are lost and hug them, like he says, like Aaron HaKohen. Those are the tools, and to bring them all back to Hashem. We should march. Friday night, nobody should be home. Friday night, everybody in Klal Yisrael should be out on the streets, but not marching against these kids, marching towards them and embracing them. Don't sing songs at them. If all of us accept them and do what we're supposed to do, we have a chiyuv. Al tadin es chavercha. Have they done as kol ha'adam lekaf schus? And I could tell you from hanging out the last 20 years with all of these problematic kids, if you knew their problems, you wouldn't judge them. And if you judge them, you'll judge them that they're right. They're struggling, and they're in pain. They're trying to make the best decisions that they can. And we have no right to look down at anybody. That's our chiyuv. We brought the Beis HaMikdash to be destroyed because of sinas chinam. And now Hashem is giving us an opportunity that we need. We need this. Because the only way to rectify and remedy sinas chinam is with ahavas chinam. And all of a sudden Hashem gives us a crisis that can only be solved with ahavas chinam. I love you just because you're my brother. I love you just because you're my sister. I love you just because you're in my family. I love you because you're in my community. I love you because you're a Jew. I love you because you're a human. Ahavas chinam. It's embarrassing. People complain, I'm so embarrassed when I walk with my sister. Be happy that Hashem didn't give you these problems. And your nisayin is to walk next to your sister who has so much pain and confusion. You're the strong. The strong have to carry the weak. We have to teach and be mechanech our children. We're living in a time of crisis. We're living in a time of war. During the Holocaust, when you're in the Lodz ghetto and you're the Warsaw ghetto and you're with your boys, and outside is this girl who has tattered clothing and is starving, you don't bring her in? What kind of chinuch is that? Well, yeah, be mechanech your children that in a time of crisis we save people and the ideas change under rabbinical guidance, like you're all under. Make sure what you're doing is eisgehalten. Fine, but we should be spending our time on the streets. We should be spending our time out there where they are, showing them that we're the same. I don't look down at you. I'll tell you a story, true story. All my stories are true. I told this to you recently, I'll say it again. I went to the park before Rosh Hashanah a few years ago because I wanted schusim. We need schusim. Where are you going to get schusim before Rosh Hashanah? If you love Hashem's children, you get schusim. Kirachim avabanim, mida keneged mida, kein terachem Hashem aleinu. Kedushas Levi says, Shaitrim v'shaitrim titein lecha. Your judgment is given over to you. Hashem tells you before Shoshana, you want to know how I'm going to deal with you? I'm putting it in your hands. How do you deal with other people? Fishoff mishpat tzedek, he says. Make sure you judge other people with tzedakah, because that's how Hashem will judge you. If you go with din, you get din. You want rachamim, you got to give rachamim, mida keneged mida. Let's get schusim, go outside to the park. I took my two boys. At the time they were 21, approximately 20, 21, 17, 18. Let's go to the park, because I wanted to be mechanech them. Really? That's chinuch, to show them chil Shabbos? It doesn't entice them to be mechal Shabbos. If you're happy and you're frum and you're strong and you're gesund, you go out, you go to be mavakar chaylan. You don't decide you're jealous of the sick person who lies in bed. We went out, and I sat next to this boy. He was 15 years old. Cute little blonde kid, looked at me, eyes glossed over, toasted, roasted, and moasted. I don't know what that is, but it's not good. And I started schmoozing with him. What's doing? What's your name? Where you from? I sat next to him. My boys were standing. Another kid came over. Another kid came over. This other kid, they told me he looked like such a geschmacker kid. He just came out of jail. Because what did he do? He broke into his house, and they had a restraining order against him. He's like 17 years old. He's a pussycat. I call him like a stray dog. He's the cutest puppy. Already such a Russia, the parents locked him out, restraining order against him, and he broke in to get something, and they arrested him in jail. Oh, that's going to make him much better. It's going to make him love Yiddishkeit. They turned him into a criminal because they don't know better, and they got bad advice. Anyway, I'm schmoozing with him. After a few minutes, he turns to me. He says, I don't get it. He goes, hey, I don't get it. Why are you being nice to us? Everybody else hates us. They think everybody hates them. Everybody walks past and they tell their kids, kiknish, don't look, don't look. Why? They're not contagious. So I don't know why I did this, but this is what I did. You've heard it from me. I took off my glasses, I turned to him, and I said to him, look in my eyes, what do you see? He looks in my eyes and he says, you don't hate us. You're a good guy. You don't need to be a chacham to look in someone's eyes. He was able to look in my eyes and he saw I'm legit. I don't hate him. I don't look down at him. I'm pretty sure if I had his life, I'd be worse than him. Why is that so hard for us to do? Why is it so impossible to say that I don't know why he's like this, but I can trust him? Why can't we trust people that if they're not behaving properly, they probably have a good reason? Imagine that you have a partner and you're in business for 30 years, and this partner is a yucky. He comes to work every day exactly 9 o'clock, never is late, never gets sick. He's the best. You have to go to the bank for an appointment, and you have to get a loan, and your whole business is depending on it. You have a 9 a.m. appointment by the bank. You get there, you're waiting for him. They're waiting, you're waiting, they're waiting. He's not answering his phone. He walks in at 9:45. So normal people, what would you say? Where were you, right? How stupid. Why do you have to say, where were you? What do you think he was? Why can't you assume that he probably had a good reason? It's not his nature. He probably had a good reason. You want to hear about, he hit somebody, someone backed into him, he had a flat tire, he got a ticket. What's the difference? You know him for 30 years. With your children, you raise them. You know them. You know them at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, Z, smart, nice, wants to please you, wants to be good, and all of a sudden they snap. And you turn on them like that, they became a Russia, a Baal Taiva, they became a manipulator. Huh? Somebody stabbed them. They're hurting. Trust them. I trust these kids on the street implicitly. And you know what? They always prove me right. I took into Home Sweet Home kids that everybody was scared of. They proved me right, one after another, each one with a different set of dysfunction and a different history of crime and bad stuff, and they proved me right. And you can meet them, and you should meet them. I have a chat with them, and we have Eineklach Baruch Hashem, and they're doing great by and large, doing amazing. The few that are really struggling have one thing in common. After Home Sweet Home, they didn't have a home to go to. And they're still struggling. But they're not anti, and they don't hate us, and they're not in footsteps, and they're not. They're us. They don't look like us, but they're us. Undercover, their heart and their rutzin is with us. Because they want what we have. Like what your child told you, your God is a God that
I can believe in.
Your God is a God that I can believe in. Because your God is a God of kindness. Because your God doesn't say blow up the infidels. Where does it come from? It comes from the Arabs. If your kid doesn't want to dress in your... throw him out. Arabs. It's not my God. It's not my Torah. Where does it say that? Show me. The Chazon Ish said, "B'loi lidchaisam chalila." But my therapist said, I have to have rules in my house. Really. You have to control it. Why not heal it? The Baal Shem Tov and the Chazon Ish gave you the medicine. Loi lidchaisam chalila. So now you have a big problem because the therapist tells you and your friends and your uncle and your rabbi and your doctor, I can't do it like why, right? Tell you that you have to have rules and boundaries in your house. You have to treat him like a terrorist, like he broke into your house. Call the police. And the Chazon Ish tells you, pull them in with love, and don't reject them. So now what are you supposed to do? Well, I'll tell you what will happen if you don't listen to the Chazon Ish. You're not going to be matzliach. And that's what we see. We go down the wrong road. It creates a bigger problem. They feel falerin. They feel like, I don't have parents. Oy mehoyalanu. What happened to us that we have thousands of kids that are stamped as rebels, which is the wrong thing. It looks like a rebellion. Yeah. But that's not what's happening here. Because 30 years ago, it didn't really exist. We didn't grow up with this. Do you need water?
I got water, sorry.
Drink it. All right, maybe a tea? Okay, so we have to sit down on Tisha B'Av and cry. We have a lot to cry for. We cry for the pain of people, and we cry for the confusion, like this dark cloud that ascended on Klal Yisrael, that causes parents to get advice to take their kids who are hurting and give them more pain. And they end up using morphine to numb their pain. Horrible what's happening. A kid has cancer, your parents stand by you. They don't pull the rug from under you and think that we have to suddenly teach you values and teach you midos. The parents told me, I think he's taking advantage of me. I don't think she knows the value of $1. I think he's being selfish. Okay, I'm willing to teach you how to teach them all those important things. How about we do that after he's not suicidal anymore? Can that wait a year? Why don't we rescue him first and then teach him the value of $1? Is that okay? Why does it have to be right now? Why does it? Because you went to the professional and you said, and some professionals are great, and some are just giving the same advice that they learned in school from what they were taught by a Goyish professional who learned it with Goyish kids. And they're giving you the medicine. Doesn't work for us. These are chelik l'kami mal mamish that grew up in a system that had investment of $200,000 of chinuch put into them. And know your kids. Know your kids. It's just craziness, and they're ripping their kishkes out and hurting their own children. It's the worst type of Holocaust. It's the type that parents are mamish eating bishlu as yadeim. And these are wonderful, loving parents. And they're causing it. Or Gershon Edelstein says, don't do it. You're over lifnei iver. Don't criticize. You're over lifnei iver. And you see the kids get worse and worse and get pushed away and pushed away. And it's the worst kind of chilul Hashem because it's done in the name of Hashem. And Hashem is saying, don't do it. Chazon Ish said, don't do it. No, we're going to use Hashem's name. And in the name of Hashem, you can't come into my house dressed like that. Where does it say that? Where does it say that? Where does it say that if your child, you tried chinuch, it didn't work, now they chose differently, now you do kiruv? Where does it say that? Where? Show me. Called Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky in Rosh Hashiva. A family said, the girl can't come to the Hanukkah party. We have a huge Hanukkah party. It would have been so great. What an opportunity to do kiruv on this girl. The aunts, the uncles, everybody's there. Why? Why can't she come to the Hanukkah party? So the brothers and the uncles all said, very frum, said, because if she's there, not sneeze, we can't make a bracha. So I said, Rosh Hashiva, why don't they just not eat? What do you have to make brachas for? So you don't eat. So you makar of your sister, you save her life. You have to eat? So he was laughing. I said, I have a better idea. Tell them to wash before. They're so worried about their bracha. You have a chance to be makar of a yid that only you can do. Mipsarcha al tasalim, Reb Shmuel said, is a lav in the Torah, and it applies to this. Only you can save this soul. You're a Hatzalah guy, and you won't go into the lady section because you can't make a bracha. You're doing Hatzalah work. You're making a bracha also? How can we make a bracha? Don't make a bracha. Eat without a bracha. Fools. Shaita. Ask a Rav. What do I do? How do I make Kiddush? Find out the halacha. Close your eyes. Look to Shemayim. I don't know. We're going to shut down every Chabad house and every Yeshet Torah thing because, whoa, only tznius in the house. Can't be makar of anybody. Are you married? Put on a shaitel here. We'll give you a shaitel. Come into my house for Shabbos. Nobody's coming. It doesn't work like that. To merachig people in the name of Hashem. Now, if your Rav tells you that that's the halacha, fine, you're allowed to do that, 100%. I want to meet the Rav, because I have hundreds of Rabbanim that totally don't say that. It's small-minded thinking. Comes from the Arabs, blow up the infidel. A kid told his parents, what's next? You're going to blow me up? Because I don't subscribe? And you think you're going to give them a Havas HaTorah and a Havas Yisrael that way? So listen, here's the bottom line. We can't fix them, but we have to fix ourselves. We need a Havas Yisrael. We need to stop judging. Like I always say, judge, but don't get it wrong. If you're a paisik, if you're on a bezdin, and you're judging somebody for misa, don't get it wrong. Because all the judgment, it's wrong, because you don't know the whole story. I'll ask anybody, they're judging, oh, this guy's very bad, big baltaiva, shiksa, baltaiva. Okay, do you know the whole story? No. How could you judge? You don't know the whole story. You know everything that happened to the child, says the Sfas Emes. Have they done eskol ha'adam l'kav schus? What does it mean, eskol ha'adam? It should say, have they done eskol adam l'kav schus? Judge every person favorably. Why does it say, have they done, judge, eskol, all the ha'adam? So he says, before you judge eskol ha'adam. Everything that happened to that person from when they're born. Every single bump in the road. All their issues. And you'll see it'll be l'kav schus. So we shouldn't judge. We shouldn't have to judge. But if you feel like you have to judge, get all the facts. Sit down and take it seriously. Before you pass judgment, before you think negative about another Jew, make sure you got the right story. I have a feeling if you get the full story, you'll see it's l'kav schus. Reb Gershon Edelstein Shlita or Sheshiva Panovich said, my mother taught me to be dan every single person l'kav schus. Judge every single person favorably. And if you just mamish can't, you have that one situation where you just can't, then be dan l'kav shtus. Then judge him that he did an act of shtus. Ein adam chayte elam kein nechnas bei ruach shtus. You never acted ruach shtus? You never got angry for no reason? Or when you shouldn't have? You never lost yourself? So if you can't be dan l'kav shtus, be dan l'kav shtus. So he made a mistake. So he did a stupid move. That's our chiyuv. That's what we have to work on. And guess what? If we don't work on it, not just that we're not saving them, but we can't get out of Golus without that. We're not saving ourselves. We're putting ourselves through more Golus, more death, more dysfunction, more sadness, more pain. We all want it to end. So how are we going to get it to end? There's no choice. Ahavas chinam is the only solution, the only antidote, the only medicine to heal the sin that broke us. The Ahavas is sinas chinam. And we could be as frum and build moistus and everything. Until we do Ahavas chinam, we're stuck here. So let's hope that we could use this terrible pain and sadness. We're being pushed in the corner. We're losing kids all the time. Families, beautiful families. You're such wonderful people. I just spent the last 2 days with you. You're wonderful people. We heard from the Stechina Rebbe, you don't deserve this. This is a carbon tzibur. You don't deserve, you didn't do this. You couldn't do this. You couldn't make this mess. Even if you tried, you couldn't make this mess. It's a gzeira from Hashem. And And we're all with you, and Klal Yisrael is behind you, and we support you, and we'll be here for you. And you're going to be there for your kids. And in Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to be carrying them on our shoulders when Mashiach comes, and Mashiach's going to put you guys first. So you brought the Geula. You broke the pattern. You stopped the Sinas Yisrael. You stopped the Sinas Chinam. You started liking people and trusting them and judging them. You don't have to be Kalbach and Nanach to do that. You don't have to be Chabad. You could be a regular Jew and not judge people negatively. And this is our wake-up call, because a lot of us couldn't get it right. But until it's your neighbor's kid, until it's your family's kid, and then until it's your own kid, Rahman al-Islam, we have no choice. We got to wake up, and we got to save our kids. Mirza Hashem, we will. And Hashem will be very, very proud of us. And you'll be proud of yourselves. And that's why the parents in the room here, the black belts, you guys look different than the newbies. The newbies are pale. And they're like, what? What do I have to do? Because you haven't slept in a year. And the black belts come in here, you're sleeping, you have calm. No matter how many kips you have, you're sleeping, it's calm, we're going to save our kids, we're going to use our tools, we're going to use love. Whatever hate can do, love can do better. That's the feelings of hate and anger that they have. We can wash it over and get rid of it with love. Shlomo HaMelech said, Ki aza kamaves ahava. Love is as strong as death. What does that mean, love is as strong as death? Aza kamaves, strong as maves ahava. Love, death, how do you compare the two? The Stipler explained, just like nothing could stop death when it's time, nothing stops death, said the Stipler, nothing could stop love. Nothing could stop love. It is the most powerful super weapon that we have. It's as strong as death. It's unstoppable. Whatever we're dealing with, love conquers all. Kol p'shoyim techas ahava. It's the strongest thing. It's unstoppable. We see that. The dysfunction, medicine of love. Off the derech, the medicine of love. As prescribed by the Baal Shem Tov, the Chazon Ish, the Zohar HaKadosh, and thousands of other Maran Mekaymis that we have, literally. So let's get out there and do our job.